Ignition crack, engine catches. Ever asked yourself, what are the top 10 rarest muscle cars on Earth? Some say they never existed, auction myths whispered in smoke. But here tonight, you'll know. We hunt the truth. Built in back rooms, raced at midnight. The hunt for legends starts now. Tonight, 10 unicorns, real cars, impossible odds. Blink and you'll miss some sightings. Dino violence. Stay to the end. Number 1 shouldn't exist. Title: The Unicorns of Detroit. Some say they never existed. Phantoms, ghosts. Ghosts cooked up in the smoky back rooms of Detroit. Men with oil-stained fingernails. Men with faraway looks in their eyes. They speak of American muscle cars so rare, so powerful, so utterly unobtainable, that they have passed into legend. Not built for the school run, not for a gentle Sunday drive to the pub, but for one single glorious purpose: to unleash biblical levels of horsepower and leave everything else for dead in a cloud of tire smoke and shattered dreams. Four-wheeled declarations of war against physics, good sense, and quiet neighborhoods. Sound of a single echoing engine ignition, followed by a low, menacing rumble. One of these magnificent beasts is now worth more than a small European country. Some were so secret, only a handful were ever bolted together before the bean counters shut it down. Others simply vanished, like automotive ghosts, leaving behind nothing but a few grainy photographs and a whole lot of questions. And the number 1 car on our list? It's so rare it makes a winning lottery ticket look common. A machine so mythical the chances of you ever seeing one in the wild are 0. So buckle up, because tonight we're going hunting for unicorns. Now you might be thinking, what's the fuss? They're just old cars, aren't they? Loud, inefficient, and probably smell a bit of petrol and regret. You would be spectacularly wrong. These machines represent a moment in time, a glorious, fleeting era when ambition wasn't a dirty word and horsepower was king. Engineers fueled by coffee and gasoline asked, what if, and then built the answer. Engines so large they barely fit under the bonnet. Right, let's get straight to it with a car that is, without question, one of the most ludicrously desirable and valuable lumps of metal ever to roll out of America. It is, of course, the 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible. Just saying the name makes the hairs on your arms stand up. It was the absolute pinnacle of the muscle car wars. The government, the insurance companies, and a general sense of miserable sensibility strangled the whole party. In 1971, if you wanted the biggest, baddest engine in the flashiest, most unapologetic body, this was it, and you could have it with the roof chopped off. How brilliant is that? The heart of this monster. The 426 cubic inch Hemi V8. This wasn't an engine. It was a geological event, conservatively rated at 425 horsepower. Everyone knew it was closer to 500. 2 massive 4-barrel carburetors, turning air and fuel into pure, unadulterated violence. Not to 60 in about 5.5 seconds, a time that could still worry some so-called sports cars today. A convertible with the accelerative force of a cannonball. So why is it so rare? A perfect storm of terrible timing and eye-watering expense. The engine option added nearly $900, colossal back then, and insurance skyrocketed. Convertibles were falling out of fashion. In the final year, Plymouth built only 11. Only 7 were sold in the United States. There are more people in space right now than there are original US spec 71 Hemi drop tops. Result? Values in the stratosphere, $3 to $6 million. The undisputed king of muscle car collectibles. If the Hemi Cuda was the heavyweight brawler, then this next car was the assassin. A 1969 Chevrolet Camaro, one of the prettiest shapes of the era. But this is no ordinary Camaro. This is the ZL1, essentially a road-legal Can-Am racing car, a secret most dealers never knew existed. Lurking there, the all-aluminium 427 cubic inch ZL1 V8. Small block weight, big block power. Officially 430 horsepower. Reality, well over 550 from the factory. A rocket with number plates. It reached the Camaro via Copo. Dealer Fred Gibb ordered 50 for homologation. The engine option cost over $4,000, effectively doubling the price. Cars sat unsold, returned for redistribution. In the end, only 69 built in 1969. Today, originals fetch over $1 million. The ZL1 remains a ferociously rare legend. And now for something completely and utterly mad. The 1970 Plymouth Hemi Superbird. This isn't a car, it's a statement. A gigantic, two-fingered salute to aerodynamics, good taste, and a few small European laws. Not born in a wind tunnel. Looks like it was designed by a 10-year-old after 3 bags of Haribo and wacky races. Yet there's genius to its lunacy. The nose adds about the length of a small hatchback. That wing, it's a public monument. Legend says it's that tall so the boot could open. Brilliantly agricultural problem solving. Powering the rarest form, the 426 Hemi. Officially 425 HP, unofficially enough to reverse a small planet. 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. Witchcraft in 1970. On NASCAR ovals, bodywork made sense. Near 200 Matzer massage, the cone cuts air and the wing slams tires to tarmac. A homologation special, 1,935 built, but only 135 with the Hemi. In 1970, nobody wanted one. Too big, too loud, too silly. Some even converted back to road runners. Today, that silliness makes it a legend. A numbers-matching Hemi Superbird, the Holy Grail, with a 7-liter heart and a helicopter pad for a wing. Expect upwards of $1 million for the privilege. One of the most iconic, ridiculous, and brilliant cars ever made. Ambitious and rubbish in equal measure. Now, if you thought the big car companies had a monopoly on muscle, you'd be wrong. Welcome to Don Yenko, a Chevrolet dealer with a racing habit and a gift for loopholes. He ordered Camaros with heavy-duty goodies, and crucially, no engine. Then slid in 427 cubic inch L72 big blocks, Corvette Leviathans, right in the dealership. Claimed 425 HP, truth closer to 450 or more. Signature graphics, Stewart Warner gauges, Yenko Watt SC emblems, a rolling advert for horsepower, a street-legal drag racer, a barely tame beast with a warranty. Only around 201, built in 1969. Many lived hard, thrashed lives. Pristine survivors are rare. A genuine Yenko SC is a blue-chip collectible. American ingenuity and rebellion. Expect well over $500,000 for a car built by a man who refused to take no for an answer. In 1970, the muscle car world was at its zenith. Dodge crashed in with the Challenger. Late to the game, heavy on swagger. 2 unicorns, the road racing Challenger TA and the Hemi-powered RT. TA stood for Trans Am, a scalpel for the circuit, a special 340 small block with 3 2-barrels, the legendary 6-pack. Rated 290 HP, an obvious lie. Fiberglass hood, side exit exhausts, comically mismatched tires, skinny front, fat rear, straight from the factory. 2 399 TAs, 1 model year. Tick the Hemi on the RT and you got the 425 HP elephant motor, a drag strip sledgehammer. Expensive, excessive, glorious. Of 76,000 Challengers in 1970, only 356 got Hemis. Hemi convertible? Precisely 12. Better odds of being struck by lightning while winning the lottery than seeing one in the wild. TAs fetch strong money. Genuine Hemi RTs sit high 6 figures. Convertibles? If you have to ask. Something different, born of corporate warfare, the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Ford wanted NASCAR domination. The Hemi juggernaut said no. Engineers birthed a 429 CI semi-hemispherical V8. Brilliant, brutal, ambitious. NASCAR needed 500 road cars. Carcraft hacked shock towers, moved the battery to the boot, and force-fit the Leviathan. The giveaway. That enormous, functional scoop and gym-built stance, rated at 375 HP to placate insurers, reality north of 500 with simple tweaks. Hand-built rarity, 859 in 1969, $4,999 in 1970, then done. Too expensive, too nose-heavy for drags, built for Daytona and Talladega. Owning one is owning brutal ambition. Values comfortably past $500,000, fitting for the boss. In corporate bureaucracy, there's a form for everything, but sometimes there's a backdoor. COPO, the Central Office Production Order, meant for fleets used for forbidden engines. A sleeper arrives with heavy-duty bits and a ticking time bomb under the bonnet. 9561, the Iron Block L72 427, rated 425 HP, really, or 450. 9560, the all-aluminum ZL1, small block weight, 500 plus HP. So expensive it nearly doubled the car's price. Around 1,000 L72 Copos, just 69 ZL1s, a rounding error. A speakeasy on wheels, known only to those who knew the codes. L72s fetch hundreds of thousands. ZL1s, if one ever loosens, command millions. The ultimate factory sleeper. Most here are street cars inspired by racing. This next car is not inspired by racing, it is racing. The 1966 Shelby GT352R, arguably the most single-minded Mustang ever built. Carroll Shelby believed too much horsepower is just about right, then stripped the GT350 of every last ounce of civility. Out went carpets, headliner, rear seats, radio, any trim deemed unnecessary. In came a full cage extinguisher, one seat. Lightweight plexiglass, fiberglass front valance as a gaping intake. Now a machine, less a car, and more a ghost, the 1971 Plymouth GTX Hemi. By then the party was over. Insurers policed fun, emissions nagged, fuel economy loomed. Plymouth's gentleman muscle, defiantly offered with the 426 Hemi, a thermonuclear device to open a packet of crisps, only 30 built for 1971. 19 automatics, 11 blessed with the 4-speed. Finding one of those is like finding a modest person on Instagram. Street Hemi, 425 on paper, closer to 500 in reality. A commando in a Savile Row suit, civility over a force of nature. 4-speed unicorns, 7 figures, over $1 million for a Plymouth. A final defiant roar of an era. And now we come to it, the pointy end of the list. The cars that aren't just rare, they're mythical. One-offs, prototypes, factory specials. Not production, ideas. Fantasies made of steel, chrome, and high-octane ambition. Imagine the 60s. Blank checks to build the most powerful, most outrageous thing you could dream of. No rules, no committees, no accountants. Skunkworks built in back rooms and tested under darkness on Woodward. Thunderbolt, Gray Ghost, experiments to push the envelope until it burst into flames. 1969, Pontiac Trans Am convertible. Pontiac built 8 Ram Air 3 and IFE Promo show cars, never meant for sale. Today, the most coveted Pontiacs. Owning one is owning a forgotten dream, a time when anything seemed possible. But number one is so ambitious, so bonkers, it could only come from jet-age optimism. A car that didn't just have a powerful engine, it had a jet engine. The 1963 Chrysler turbine car. 55 built, not sold, loaned to the public in an audacious test program. It could run on tequila, peanut oil, even Chanel No. 5. It made 130 horsepower, but a frankly terrifying 425 pound-feet at stall. Instant torque the moment you breathed on the throttle. The engine spun to 45,000 RPM and sounded like a Hoover. A Hoover designed by God to clean the universe. An engineering marvel. But the future was complicated, expensive to build, emissions problematic, the public unsure of a family saloon ready for takeoff. After the experiment, Chrysler gathered almost all of them, crushed, chopped, and burned. Only 9 survived. It is, without question, the rarest, most audacious, and most heartbreaking story in American automotive history. Beat, the crown jewel of American audacity. And so, there you have it. A journey through a museum of unobtainable, impossibly powerful, achingly beautiful machines. From the last gasp of the Hemi to a car powered by a literal jet engine, these aren't just relics, they're monuments. Monuments to ambition, cubic inches, and glorious, unapologetic excess. When the roar of a V8 was the soundtrack to a nation's dreams, limited only by how brave, how stupid you dared to be. If you love rare cars, automotive history, and legendary machines, subscribe to GearHouse for more premium automotive documentaries. Thank you for watching.